I never thought I'd be the kind of man who sits in a parking lot at midnight, watching his wife kiss another man through a rain-streaked windshield. But there I was, engine running, wipers squeaking against the glass, watching Ella's perfectly manicured hands run through some stranger's hair like she used to do with mine. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Ryan Mitchell, and I've spent the last 15 years building a construction company from nothing. Calloused hands, aching back, and a bank account that finally lets my wife live the Instagram lifestyle she's always craved. Ella Mitchell, fitness influencer, yoga instructor, and apparently cheating wife. The text from Nick had come at 11:47 p.m. Your wife's at the club, not just dancing. Nick Brennan has been my best friend since high school. He tends bar at Pulse, the trendy downtown spot where Seattle's wannabe influencers go to be seen. When Nick texts you at midnight, you listen. So here I was, watching my wife of 8 years press herself against some guy in an expensive suit. Even through the rain, I could see her laughing at something he whispered in her ear. The same laugh she used to save for me. The guy was tall, probably mid-30s, with the kind of slicked-back hair that screamed real estate or finance. His hands were on her waist, pulling her closer as they swayed to music I couldn't hear. But I could see everything else. The way she tilted her head back when he kissed her neck, how her fingers traced the lapels of his jacket, the way she looked at him like he was the only person in the world. I'd seen that look before. It used to be mine. My phone buzzed. Nick again. You seeing this? I typed back. Yeah. Who is he? Joel Hartman, real estate, married, regular here with his boys. Married. Of course he was. Nothing like a little mutual destruction to spice up an affair. I watched them for another 10 minutes. They weren't trying to hide it. Ella's social media followers would recognize her platinum blonde hair and designer workout clothes anywhere, but she didn't seem to care. She was too busy grinding against Joel Hartman like they were alone in his bedroom. My hands gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. 15 years of 12-hour days. 15 years of building something so she could have her freedom, her yoga studio dreams, her perfect life. And this is what she did with it. But I didn't storm in. I didn't make a scene. Instead, I pulled out my phone and started recording. The video quality wasn't great through the rain and club windows, but it was clear enough. Clear enough to see my wife's wedding ring catching the neon lights as she ran her fingers through another man's hair. I drove home in silence, my mind already working. Ella thought she was smart, but she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd forgotten that I built my business by always having a plan, always thinking 3 moves ahead, and never letting emotion cloud my judgment. The house was dark when I pulled into our driveway. Our house, the one I'd bought and paid for, the one she'd spent months decorating with furniture that cost more than most people's cars. I sat in my truck for a moment, looking at the perfectly manicured lawn, the designer landscaping, the life I'd built for us. Inside, I poured myself 3 fingers of bourbon and sat at the kitchen island, staring at my phone. The video was damning, but it was just the beginning. If Ella wanted to play games, I'd show her how the game was really played. I spent the next 2 hours researching Joel Hartman, real estate agent with Pinnacle Properties, married to Marissa Hartman, a corporate lawyer, 2 kids, a mortgage on a house in Bellevue that was probably stretching his budget, social media full of family photos and professional achievements. Perfect. By the time I heard Ella's key in the lock at 2:30 a.m., I had a plan. I was in bed pretending to sleep when she slipped in beside me. She smelled like expensive cologne and lies. How was girls' night? I asked quietly. She tensed. Good. We went to that new wine bar on Capitol Hill. Have fun? Yeah, just caught up, you know how it is. I knew exactly how it was. The next morning, I made breakfast like nothing had happened. Eggs Benedict, her favorite, fresh orange juice, coffee with the expensive oat milk she insisted on. I even put on the jazz playlist she liked. "You're in a good mood," she said, scrolling through her phone while she ate. "Why wouldn't I be? Beautiful wife, successful business, perfect Saturday morning." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "What are you up to today?" "Thought I might stop by the club tonight. Haven't been out in a while." The fork paused halfway to her mouth. "The club?" "Yeah. Pulse. Nick's been asking me to come by. Says they've got a good crowd these days." "Oh, I thought maybe we could stay in tonight. Watch a movie." "We can do that tomorrow. I think a night out sounds perfect." She nodded, but I could see the wheels turning. Good. Let her sweat. I spent Saturday playing the perfect husband. I fixed the squeaky hinge on the bathroom door she'd been complaining about. I picked up her dry cleaning. I even listened to her talk about some drama with her yoga students without rolling my eyes. But every time she left the room, I was planning, researching, building my case like I was preparing for the most important construction project of my life. Sunday dinner was when I made my first move. I'd set the dining room table with our wedding china, candles, her favorite wine, a Pinot Grigio that cost more than I used to make in a day, the whole romantic setup. "This is nice," she said, settling into her chair. "What's the occasion?" "Can't a man appreciate his wife?" She relaxed, probably thinking she'd gotten away with it, that I was just some oblivious husband who worked too much to notice what was happening in his own marriage. We talked about her classes, my latest project, the vacation to Italy she wanted to take. Normal married couple conversation. I let her get comfortable, let her think everything was fine. Then, as I was pouring her second glass of wine, I said, "Nick told me you stopped by the club Friday night." Her hand froze on her wine glass. "What?" "Pulse. Nick said he saw you there. Said you looked like you were having a great time." I didn't go to Pulse. I told you we went to that wine bar." That's weird. He seemed pretty sure it was you. Said you were dancing, really enjoying yourself." The color drained from her face. "Ryan, You looked happy, Ella. Happier than I've seen you in months." She started to cry then. Not the pretty tears from her Instagram stories, but ugly, desperate sobs. "I can explain." "I'm sure you can." I pulled out my phone and showed her the video. Even with the poor lighting and rain, there was no mistaking what was happening, no mistaking who was doing it. Oh God, Ryan, please, it's not what you think." "What do I think, Ella?" I was drunk. He was just some guy. It didn't mean anything. Some guy named Joel Hartman? Her sobs got louder. I know a lot of things, like how he's married, like how this wasn't the first time, like how you've been lying to me for months." She collapsed forward, her face in her hands. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, it was a mistake. I love you, I love our life." "No, Ella, you love the life I gave you. There's a difference." I stood up, looking down at the woman I'd spent 8 years loving, supporting, building a future with. "You wanted attention. You wanted excitement. You wanted to feel special. Ryan, please. Well, congratulations. You're about to get more attention than you ever dreamed of." I walked to the bedroom and pulled out the suitcases I'd hidden in the closet. Her clothes were already packed. I'd done it while she was at her Sunday morning yoga class. Everything she'd brought into our marriage, plus a few things I was feeling generous about. "What are you doing?" "What should have been done months ago." I set the suitcases by the front door and handed her the keys to her BMW, the one I'd bought her for her birthday last year. "You can't just throw me out. This is my home too." "Actually, it's not. Check the deed, check the mortgage, check who's been paying for everything while you played influencer. I'll fight you. I'll take half of everything." "With what lawyer? With what money? Your yoga classes bring in maybe $2,000 a month. Your Instagram sponsors dropped you last week when your engagement rates tanked. You want to fight me? Go ahead, but you'll do it from somewhere else." I opened the front door. The rain had stopped, but the air was still cold and damp. "Ryan, please, we can work this out. We can go to counseling. I'll do anything." "You already did everything, Ella. You just did it with someone else's husband." She stood there for a long moment, mascara running down her cheeks, looking nothing like the polished woman who'd built her brand on being perfect. "You'll regret this," she finally said. "I doubt it." I watched her load her suitcases into the BMW and drive away. Then I went back inside, finished my wine, and called Nick. "Phase 1 complete," I said when he answered. "How'd she take it?" "About as well as you'd expect. You ready for phase 2? "Been ready since Friday night. That woman never deserved you." After I hung up, I sat in my empty house and felt something I hadn't experienced in months: peace. The silence wasn't lonely, it was liberating. No more walking on eggshells. No more pretending I didn't notice the lies. No more funding a lifestyle for someone who saw me as nothing more than a paycheck. But this was just the beginning. Ella thought she could humiliate me, use me, throw away 8 years like they meant nothing. She thought I'd just quietly fade away while she built her new life with Joel Hartman. She was about to learn that Ryan Mitchell didn't build a successful business by giving up when things got tough. And he sure as hell didn't let people walk all over him without consequences. I opened my laptop and started typing. If Ella wanted to be famous, I was going to make sure she got exactly what she asked for. Monday morning came with the kind of Seattle drizzle that makes everything look gray and depressing. Perfect weather for what I had planned. I was at my office by 6 a.m., coffee in hand, ready to start dismantling the life Ella thought she could keep living. My construction company, Mitchell & Sons, despite having no sons, occupied a converted warehouse in Georgetown. Not glamorous, but profitable. Very profitable. The first call was to our bank. Joint accounts closed, credit cards canceled. The BMW she'd driven away in, still in my name, still on my insurance. I made a note to handle that later. Second call was to my lawyer, Tom Bradley. We'd gone to high school together, and he'd handled the incorporation of my business. "Ryan, it's early, even for you. I need to discuss a divorce, Tom, and I need it handled fast and clean." "Jesus, I'm sorry, man. What happened?" "Ella's been having an affair. I've got video evidence. I want her out of my life and away from my assets as quickly as possible." Washington's a no-fault state, but adultery can affect asset division. Bring me everything you have. Third call was the one I'd been looking forward to. Rajesh Patel owned Zen Fitness, the upscale gym where Ella taught her yoga classes and filmed her Instagram content. He was a businessman first, and bad publicity was the enemy of business. "Mr. Mitchell, how are you? How is Ella?" "That's actually why I'm calling, Raj. We need to talk about Ella's contract." "Is there a problem?" "There's going to be. Can you meet me for coffee this morning?" An hour later, I was sitting across from Raj at a coffee shop near his gym. He was a small, neat man who'd built his business by understanding that fitness was really about selling an image. Ella's image was about to become toxic. "I'm going to show you something, Raj, and then I'm going to let you make a business decision." I pulled out my phone and showed him the video from Friday night. His face went through several expressions: surprise, disappointment, and finally, calculation. "This is very unfortunate," he said. "It gets worse. The man she's with is married. It's going to come out, probably in a very public way. The question is whether you want your gym associated with that kind of drama." Raj was quiet for a long moment. "Ella has a contract through the end of the year. Ella violated the morality clause when she decided to conduct her affair in public. You've got grounds to terminate." "The morality clause?" I pulled out a copy of her contract, the one I'd helped her negotiate. Section 12, subsection C. Instructor agrees to maintain professional conduct that reflects positively on Zen Fitness brand and values. Raj read it twice. "I will need to discuss this with my lawyer." "Of course. But Raj, this video is going to be public knowledge very soon. You might want to get ahead of it." By the time I left that coffee shop, I could see Raj was already making his decision. Ella's classes were popular, but not popular enough to risk his gym's reputation. My phone was buzzing with texts. Nick, she's been calling the bar looking for you. I texted back, let her call. The next stop was Joel Hartman's office. Pinnacle Properties occupied the ground floor of a gleaming building in downtown Bellevue, all glass and steel and artificial plants, the kind of place that screamed, "We're successful," a little too loudly. I didn't go in. Instead, I parked across the street and did some research. Joel's social media was a masterpiece of fake family happiness. Photos with his wife Marissa at charity events, pictures of his kids at soccer games, professional headshots with captions about integrity and family values. This was going to be fun. I found Marissa Hartman's LinkedIn profile, corporate lawyer at a downtown firm, Harvard Law School, the kind of woman who'd built her career on being smarter than everyone else in the room. The kind of woman who wouldn't appreciate being made to look like a fool. Her law firm had a general contact email. I crafted a careful message. Dear Ms. Hartman, I believe you should be aware of some information regarding your husband Joel's recent activities. I have video evidence of his conduct that I believe you would want to see before it becomes public knowledge. I can be reached at this email address if you'd like to discuss this matter privately. Professional, respectful, and absolutely devastating. I hit send and drove back to my office. The afternoon brought the first wave of consequences. Raj called at 2:30. I've terminated Ella's contract, effective immediately. My lawyer says the morality clause gives us clear grounds. I'm sorry it came to this, Raj. So am I. She was good for business. But this kind of scandal, I can't afford it. An hour later, my phone rang. Ella. You bastard! You got me fired! I didn't get you fired, Ella. You got yourself fired when you decided to make out with a married man in public. This is insane. You can't destroy my whole life because of one mistake. One mistake? How long has this been going on? Silence. That's what I thought. And Ella? This isn't about destroying your life. This is about consequences. Something you've managed to avoid for way too long. I'll sue you for defamation, for harassment. With what money? And for what? Showing people a video of something you actually did? She hung up on me. At 4:15, my phone rang again. Unknown number. This is Joel Hartman. I think we need to talk. I think we do. My office. 1 hour. No. Starbucks on Pine Street. Public place. 1 hour. I got there first and chose a table near the window. Joel arrived exactly on time, and he looked like hell. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his hair was disheveled, and there were dark circles under his eyes. You sent that email to my wife. I did. You son of a jerk. Do you have any idea what you've done? I've told the truth. Seems like that's been in short supply lately. Joel leaned forward, lowering his voice. My wife threw me out. She's talking about divorce. She's going to destroy me in court. That sounds like a problem between you and your wife. This is about more than just your marriage. You're ruining lives. No, Joel. You ruined your own life when you decided to screw my wife. I'm just making sure everyone knows about it. What do you want? Money? I can pay you. I almost laughed. You think this is about money? Everything's about money. Not this. This is about consequences. You thought you could take what wasn't yours without any price. You were wrong. Joel's face was getting red. You can't do this. I'll sue you. You'll what? Sue me for telling your wife that you're cheating on her? Good luck with that. I stood up to leave. This isn't over, Joel said. You're right. It's not. That evening, I got a call from Marissa Hartman. Mr. Mitchell, this is Marissa Hartman. I received your email. Her voice was crisp, professional, and absolutely furious. I appreciate you reaching out, Mrs. Hartman. I want to see the video. Of course. I can email it to you. I'd prefer to meet in person. Can you come to my office tomorrow morning? Absolutely. And Mr. Mitchell, thank you. I'd rather know the truth than live a lie. After I hung up, I poured myself a bourbon and sat on my back deck, looking out at the city lights. 24 hours ago, Ella had thought she was living a perfect double life. Joel had thought he was getting away with something. Both of them had thought I was just some dumb contractor who wouldn't notice what was happening in his own marriage. They were learning otherwise. My phone buzzed with a text from Nick. Ella's been at the bar for 2 hours, crying into her wine and telling anyone who'll listen that you're crazy. I texted back, "How's that working out for her?" Not great. Turns out most people don't have much sympathy for cheaters. I was about to respond when another text came in, from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Olivia Chen, Ella's friend. We need to talk." Olivia. Ella's influencer bestie. The one who'd probably known about the affair the whole time and said nothing. The one who'd probably encouraged it, thinking it was all very exciting and dramatic. I texted back, "Nothing to talk about. There's more you don't know. About Ella, about Joel. Meet me tomorrow." I stared at the message for a long moment. More I didn't know? What could be worse than what I'd already discovered? I texted back, "Where?" "Cafe Luna, Capitol Hill, 10 a.m. Why would you help me?" "Because Ella threw me under the bus to save herself, and because you deserve to know everything." I set my phone down and finished my bourbon. Tomorrow was going to be interesting, but tonight, for the first time in months, I slept like a baby. Tuesday morning brought sunshine for the first time in a week. I took it as a good sign. My first stop was Marissa Hartman's law firm. The building was all marble and mahogany, the kind of place that charged $500 an hour and worth every penny. Marissa's office was on the 14th floor, with a view of Elliott Bay that probably cost more than most people's houses. She was exactly what I'd expected. Mid-30s, perfectly tailored suit, the kind of sharp intelligence that came from years of destroying opponents in courtrooms. When she shook my hand, her grip was firm enough to crack walnuts. "Mr. Mitchell, thank you for coming. Thank you for seeing me, Mrs. Hartman. Please call me Marissa, and let's skip the pleasantries. I want to see what my husband has been doing." I pulled out my phone and showed her the video. She watched it twice, her expression never changing. When it was finished, she set the phone down and looked out the window for a long moment. "How long?" she asked. "I don't know. I just found out Friday night." "But you suspect it's been going on for a while?" "Yes." She nodded. "Joel's been working late a lot, coming home smelling like perfume, taking phone calls in private. I'm a lawyer, Mr. Mitchell. I notice things. I just chose to ignore them. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'd rather know the truth." She turned back to me. "What are your plans for this information?" "I'm divorcing my wife. Beyond that, I just want people to know who they really are." "And Joel? What about him? Are you planning to make this public?" I considered the question. "That depends on what he does next." Marissa smiled for the first time since I'd arrived. It wasn't a pleasant smile. "Joel thinks he's very clever. He thinks he can charm his way out of anything. He's about to learn otherwise." "What do you mean?" "I mean my husband is about to discover that divorcing a Harvard-trained lawyer who specializes in asset recovery is not a pleasant experience." We talked for another 20 minutes. Marissa was thorough, asking detailed questions about when and where I'd seen them together, whether I had any other evidence, what Ella had told me about their relationship. By the time I left, I understood why she was successful. She was building a case like she was preparing for war. My next stop was Cafe Luna on Capitol Hill. Olivia Chen was already there, nursing a latte and looking nervous. She was everything Ella aspired to be. Younger, prettier, with twice as many Instagram followers and brand partnerships that actually paid well. "Thank you for meeting me," she said as I sat down. Why are you here, Olivia? Because Ella is throwing me under the bus, and I don't appreciate it. How so? She's telling people that I knew about Joel and didn't tell you, that I encouraged her, that it's somehow my fault. Didn't you know? Olivia looked uncomfortable. I suspected, but Ella never told me directly. But you didn't tell me either. It wasn't my place. You're not my friend. She is, or was. What changed? Yesterday, when you got her fired from the gym, she called me screaming, said it was my fault because I'd introduced her to Joel. You introduced them? At a party 3 months ago. Joel was there with some real estate clients. Ella was there with me. They started talking and... She shrugged. I thought it was just flirting. But it wasn't. No. And now Ella's telling everyone that I set it up on purpose, that I wanted to break up your marriage. Why would she say that? Because she needs someone to blame besides herself. Olivia pulled out her phone and showed me a series of text messages, screenshots of conversations between her and Ella, dating back weeks. Ella complaining about our marriage. Ella talking about how exciting Joel was. Ella asking Olivia to cover for her when she was meeting him. She's been planning this for a while, Olivia said, and she's been using me as her alibi. Why are you showing me this? Because I'm tired of being used, and because you should know what you're really dealing with. I looked through the messages. They painted a picture of a woman who wasn't just having an affair, but someone who was actively planning to leave her marriage. Someone who saw her husband as nothing more than a financial safety net, while she figured out her next move. There's more, Olivia said. About her Instagram. About the money. What about the money? She's been lying about her income. Those brand partnerships she brags about, most of them pay in product, not cash. The ones that do pay cash are maybe a few $100s each. How do you know? Because I've been doing this longer than she has. I know what the rates are, and I know she's been buying followers and engagement to make herself look more successful than she is. Why? To impress Joel, to make herself seem like a catch, like someone worth leaving his wife for. I sat back in my chair processing this information. Ella hadn't just been cheating on me, she'd been planning her exit strategy. Using my money to fund a fake lifestyle that would attract a new man to support her. What do you want from me, Olivia? Nothing. I just thought you should know the truth. And what are you going to do about Ella? What do you mean? She's been using you, lying about you, throwing you under the bus. Are you going to let her get away with that? Olivia's expression hardened. No, I'm not. After she left, I sat in the cafe for another hour thinking. The picture was getting clearer, and it was worse than I'd imagined. Ella hadn't just made a mistake or gotten caught up in the moment. She'd been systematically planning to replace me, using my money to fund the process. My phone rang. Tom Bradley, my lawyer. Ryan, I've got good news and bad news. Give me the bad news first. Washington's community property laws mean she's entitled to half the assets acquired during the marriage. And the good news? The business was established before the marriage, and you've got a solid paper trail showing it was built with premarital assets and loans in your name only. She's got no claim on Mitchell and Sons. What about the house? That's trickier. You bought it after the marriage, so technically it's community property. But if you can prove she contributed nothing to the mortgage payments, I can prove that. I've got 8 years of bank records showing every payment came from my business account. Then we're in good shape. Bring me everything you have. Bank records, business documents, evidence of the affair. I want to file this week. That afternoon, I drove to my job site in Ballard. We were building a custom home for a tech executive, the kind of project that kept my crew busy for months and paid for my comfortable lifestyle. The guys were working on framing the second floor, and the sound of hammers and power tools was oddly comforting. Boss! Lars Anderson, my foreman, waved me over. Lars was a second-generation contractor, built like a tree trunk, with the kind of practical wisdom that came from 30 years of construction work. "How's it going with the wife situation?" Word traveled fast in construction crews. These guys were like family, and they'd all met Ella at company barbecues and Christmas parties. Most of them had never liked her much. "It's handled," I said. "Good. That woman never appreciated what she had." "What do you mean?" "Come on, Ryan. You think we didn't notice? The way she talked to you in front of people, like you were the help instead of the man who paid for everything she had. You never said anything. Wasn't our place. But we all saw it." I spent an hour on the job site, checking progress and talking with the crew. It felt good to be around people who respected hard work and honest dealing, people who understood that you earned what you got and didn't take what wasn't yours. My phone buzzed with a text from Nick. "You need to see this." He'd sent me a link to Instagram, Ella's account. She'd posted a long, rambling caption about going through a difficult time and asking for privacy and understanding. The comments were brutal. Word had gotten out about the affair, and her followers weren't sympathetic. "Cheater. What about your husband? Did you think about him? Unfollow. Don't need this drama." Her follower count was dropping in real time. Brand partnerships were pulling out. The carefully constructed image she'd spent years building was crumbling in a matter of hours. I called Nick. "How bad is it?" "Bad. She was here again last night, drunk and crying, telling everyone who'd listen that you're trying to destroy her life." "Any takers?" "Not many. Most people figure if you're getting divorced, there's probably a good reason." "What about Joel?" "Haven't seen him, but word is his wife cleaned out their joint accounts and filed for divorce yesterday." That evening I was at home, working on my laptop, when the doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw Ella standing on my porch. Our porch. The porch of the house I'd bought and paid for. She looked terrible. Her hair was unwashed, her makeup was smeared, and she was wearing sweatpants and a wrinkled t-shirt. This was not the polished influencer who'd built her brand on being perfect. I opened the door, but didn't invite her in. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't." "Ryan, please, this has gone too far." "Has it? Because from where I'm standing, this is just getting started." "You're destroying my life." "I'm not destroying anything. I'm just making sure people know the truth." "The truth?" "The truth is that I made a mistake. One mistake, and you're acting like I murdered someone." "One mistake?" "Ella, I've seen the text messages. I know this has been going on for months. I know you've been planning to leave me and using my money to fund your new life." Her face went white. "What text messages? Does it matter? The point is, I know who you really are. And now everyone else does too. You can't do this to me. I have nothing left. No job, no money, nowhere to live." "You have Joel. Joel's wife threw him out. He's staying at a motel. His business is falling apart because she's telling everyone what happened." "Sounds like a problem you two created together." "Ryan, I'm begging you. Call off the lawyers. Stop spreading this around. We can work this out." "No, Ella, we can't. You made your choice when you decided I wasn't enough for you. Now you get to live with the consequences." I started to close the door, but she put her hand against it. "I'll fight you. I'll take half of everything you have. Try it. See how that works out for you. I know things about your business, about corners you've cut, about deals you've made." I looked at her for a long moment. This was a new Ella. Not the crying, apologetic woman from Sunday night, but someone desperate and dangerous. "Are you threatening me?" "I'm telling you that if you don't stop this, I'll make sure you regret it." "Ella, let me explain something to you. I built my business by being smarter than people who try to threaten me. I've got lawyers, accountants, and 15 years of clean books. You've got nothing but desperation and lies. We'll see about that." She turned and walked away, and I watched her drive off in the BMW that was still titled in my name. Tomorrow, I was going to have to do something about that. I went back inside and called Tom Bradley. Tom, I need to accelerate the timeline, and I need you to prepare for Ella to get nasty. How nasty? She just threatened to make things up about my business if I don't back down. Let her try. False accusations in a divorce proceeding can backfire spectacularly. Good, because I'm done playing nice. After I hung up, I poured myself a bourbon and sat on my back deck, looking out at the Seattle skyline. The city lights twinkled like stars, and for the first time in months, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Tomorrow, I was going to finish what Ella had started when she decided to throw away our marriage for a few months of excitement with a married real estate agent. She wanted a war. She was going to get one. Wednesday morning brought news that changed everything. Tom Bradley called me at 7 a.m., and I could hear the excitement in his voice. Ryan, you're not going to believe this. Ella's lawyer dropped her. What? She tried to hire Patricia Williamson. You know, the shark who handles all the high-profile divorces. Patricia called me an hour ago. Apparently Ella came in yesterday making wild accusations about your business, claiming you've been hiding assets and committing tax fraud. That's insane. Patricia thought so too. She had her people do a preliminary investigation into your finances. When they found everything exactly as you'd represented it, and when Ella couldn't provide any evidence for her claims, Patricia realized she was dealing with someone who would lie to her own lawyer. So she dropped her? Dropped her and billed her for the consultation. Ella's going to have a hard time finding representation now. Patricia's got a big mouth, and word travels fast in legal circles. I sat down heavily in my kitchen chair. This was better than I'd hoped. There's more, Tom continued. I got a call from Joel Hartman's lawyer. Apparently Joel wants to meet with you. Why? I think he wants to make a deal. His divorce is getting ugly, and Marissa Hartman is playing for keeps. Word is she's going after everything, the house, his business, even his retirement accounts. Good for her. The point is, Joel's desperate. Desperate people make stupid decisions. Be careful. After I hung up, I made coffee and thought about how much my life had changed in 5 days. Sunday, I'd been a married man with a cheating wife and a broken heart. Today, I was a single man with a clear conscience and a plan for the future. My phone rang. Unknown number. This is Joel. What do you want, Joel? To meet. To talk about ending this thing between us. There's nothing between us. You screwed my wife and now you're dealing with the consequences. Look, I know you're angry. I get it. But this has spiraled out of control. My wife is trying to destroy me. My business is falling apart. Ella's lost everything. Don't you think that's enough? No. What do you want? An apology? Money? Name your price. I want you to understand that actions have consequences. That you can't just take what doesn't belong to you and walk away. I understand. We both understand. Can we move on now? Where's Ella? What? Where is she staying? I know you're both broke, so where is she? Joel was quiet for a moment. With me. At the motel. How romantic. The cheating wife and the cheating husband, together at last in a $50 a night motel room. You don't have to be cruel about it. Cruel? Joel, you have no idea what cruel looks like, but you're about to learn. I hung up and called Nick. I need a favor. Name it. I need you to find out which motel Joel and Ella are staying at. Why? Because I'm going to pay them a visit. Ryan, be careful. Don't do anything that's going to get you in trouble. I'm not going to hurt anyone. I'm just going to have a conversation. It took Nick 2 hours to track them down. The Starlight Motel on Aurora Avenue, the kind of place that rented rooms by the hour and didn't ask questions. How far the mighty had fallen. I drove there at sunset, when the neon signs were just starting to flicker on and the traffic was heavy enough to provide cover. The motel was exactly what I'd expected. 2 stories of peeling paint and broken dreams, surrounded by a parking lot full of dented cars and bad decisions. Room 237. Second floor, facing the street. I could see Joel's Range Rover parked outside, the same car he'd used to drive to his meetings with my wife. I climbed the external stairs and knocked on the door. "Who is it?" Ella's voice, nervous and scared. "Room service." The door opened, and Ella's face went white when she saw me. She tried to slam it shut, but I put my foot in the doorway. "We need to talk." "Go away, Ryan. You've done enough." "Have I?" Joel appeared behind her, shirtless and trying to look tough. "She told you to leave. And I told you both that this wasn't over." I pushed past them into the room. It was everything I'd expected: faded carpet, cigarette burns on the furniture, the smell of desperation and cheap disinfectant. This was where their great love affair had led them. "Look at this place," I said. "Is this what you thought you were trading up to, Ella?" "Get out." "In a minute. First, I want to show you both something." I pulled out my phone and opened the camera app. "Smile." "What are you doing?" Joel demanded. "Documenting. For social media. I thought Ella's followers might like to see how their favorite influencer is living these days." "You can't post that," Ella said. "It's harassment." "Is it? I'm just sharing the truth. Isn't that what social media is for?" I took several photos: the shabby room, the unmade bed, Ella in her wrinkled clothes and smeared makeup, Joel looking like he hadn't slept in days. "Delete those," Joel said, stepping toward me. "Or what? You'll hit me? Go ahead. Assault charges would be the perfect ending to this story." Joel stopped, his hands clenched into fists, but his brain finally working. "What do you want?" Ella asked. "I want you to understand what you've lost. I want you to realize that the life you threw away was the best thing that ever happened to you." "I know that." "Do you? Because 3 days ago, you were threatening to make up lies about my business. That doesn't sound like someone who understands anything." "I was desperate." "You were stupid. Just like you were stupid when you thought you could have your cake and eat it too." I walked to the window and looked out at the parking lot, at the city lights in the distance. "You know what the funny thing is? I would have given you a divorce if you'd just asked for one. If you'd been honest about being unhappy, we could have worked something out like adults." "I didn't want a divorce. I just wanted—" "You wanted excitement. You wanted to feel special. You wanted to have your stable, comfortable life and your dangerous affair at the same time. That's not true." "It's exactly true. And you," I turned to Joel, "you wanted to feel like a big shot, like someone who could take another man's wife and get away with it." "It wasn't like that." "It was exactly like that. You thought I was just some dumb contractor who wouldn't notice or wouldn't fight back." I walked toward the door, then stopped and turned back to them. "You want to know the real irony? If you'd both just been honest about what you wanted, you might have gotten it. But you chose to lie and sneak around and betray people who trusted you. And now you're living in a $50 motel room, broke and unemployed and facing divorces that are going to leave you with nothing." "We still have each other," Ella said, but her voice was small and uncertain. I laughed. "Do you? Joel, when the money runs out, and it's going to run out very soon, what then? Are you going to get a job? Support Ella in the style she's accustomed to? Or are you going to start looking for the next opportunity?" Joel's face flushed red, but he didn't answer. "And Ella, when Joel realizes that you're not the successful influencer you pretended to be, when he figures out that you're just another unemployed woman with no skills and no prospects, how long do you think this great love affair is going to last?" "You don't know anything about us," she said. "I know everything about you. I know you're selfish and dishonest and incapable of taking responsibility for your actions. I know you'll both throw each other under the bus the minute things get difficult." I opened the door and stepped into the hallway. "Ryan, wait," Ella called after me. I turned back one more time. "I loved you," she said. I really did love you. No, Ella, you loved what I could give you. There's a difference. I walked down the stairs and got in my truck. As I drove away, I could see them in the window of room 237, silhouetted against the cheap lamplight, probably already starting to blame each other for how their perfect plan had fallen apart. My phone was buzzing with notifications. Nick had been busy while I was gone, posting the photos I'd sent him to a private group chat that included most of our mutual friends. The responses were exactly what I'd expected. Holy shit. Is that really Ella? What a fall from grace. She looks like hell. But the best notification was a text from Marissa Hartman. Joel's lawyer called. He wants to settle. I'm going to take him for everything he's worth. Thank you for the evidence. I drove home through the Seattle streets, past the restaurants where Ella and I used to have dinner, past the gym where she used to teach, past all the places that had been part of our life together. But instead of feeling sad, I felt free. At home, I poured myself a bourbon and sat on my back deck, looking out at the city lights. My phone rang one more time. Ryan? It was my mother calling from Phoenix. Hi, Mom. Nick called me, told me what happened with Ella. I figured he would. Are you okay? I'm better than okay. I'm free. I never liked her, you know. I know. She never appreciated you. Never understood what she had. She understands now. Good. You deserve better. After I hung up, I sat in the quiet of my house, and thought about the future. Tomorrow, I'd finalize the divorce papers. Next week, I'd start looking for a new place, somewhere without memories of Ella and her lies. Next month, I'd take the vacation to Italy that she'd always wanted to take, except I'd go alone and actually enjoy it. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from an unknown number. This is Olivia. Thought you should know. Ella and Joel had a huge fight tonight. She called me crying, saying he blamed her for everything and threatened to leave. I told her she made her bed. Just thought you'd want to know their perfect love story is already falling apart. I smiled and deleted the message. I didn't need to know about Ella's problems anymore. They weren't my problems. I finished my bourbon and went inside, locking the door behind me. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new opportunities, new possibilities. But tonight, for the first time in months, I was exactly where I wanted to be. The cost of her spotlight had been everything she'd ever had, and she'd paid it willingly.